It's not 5 o'clock, and they don't care. Welcome to Wine to 5. Entertainment, education, and everyday drinking for everyday people. Your hosts are Valerie Caruso and Stephanie Davis, two wine educators who don't need a clock to know when to pour that next glass.
Val, can you believe we've recorded 145 episodes?
Steph, that is so crazy. That's 145 straight weeks and a whole smorgasbord of goodies. And listeners, this is why we want to share our top 10 downloaded episodes of all time with you. Because, well, first of all, I feel like it's kind of like the red carpet, but without the glittery dresses, but with yoga pants. And but we still have booze, so that's a good thing. And we also have a factoid, a Patreon drawing today, as well as some Wine Radar. So we hope you'll stick around for that after party. But right now, Steph, what are we doing?
Right now, well, we want to sort of introduce to anybody who's new to Wine to 5 that you're probably wondering, where do you start? I mean, which episode do you start listening to, and then where do you go from there? What direction you take? Maybe you're just cherry picking episodes, and that's cool. You should do that totally, because it doesn't have to be sequential, but you may like this top 10 list.
And if you're a long-standing listener, well then cheers to you. This might entice you to catch up on your listening, maybe hit any episodes you may have missed, or share this list or some of your favorites with your wine-loving friends that need a little encouragement to listen to Wine to 5 and hit the subscribe button. So here's how you get them hooked and hit the subscribe button. But first, we're going to wet our whistles. Steph, what beverage will you be sharing with all of us today?
Well, I don't have booze today. I'm outta here. Some of that. I know, you're like, peace out.
I'm just kidding.
You're like, I'm drinking alone today. No, I got a little geeky and followed the advice from Lisa Airy when she was on the show, and got some of that Gyokuro green tea, that Japanese green tea. I found it locally, and since I'm on the mend and I recently was really sick, I feel like I need to take care of myself a little bit. So Gyokuro, though, means jade dew in Japanese, if anybody didn't know that. And so this is kind of cool, and very high grade green tea. Like they regard it as the highest grade. What are you drinking?
Well, when I heard you were drinking some Japanese tea, I thought I would break out some Japanese whiskey. And drinking alone is something I do a lot, so no big deal. But this is the Hakushu 12-year single malt. It is all malted barley, produced at the same distillery, but they use a combination of whiskeys, both peated and non-peated. And it's aged in American white oak, think like bourbon, the way Scotch is aged, because Japanese whiskey is pretty much modeled after the Scotch production model. And it's also aged in sherry or Oloroso casks. So I thought that was pretty exciting. It is about $100 a bottle, and I bought it when I was studying spirits for my diploma. So I still had it laying around, if you can believe it. But I love that whiskey lasts a while. So if you're going to pay a little more for a bottle, it's probably going to last a while. This distillery, the Hakushu, was founded in 1973. Guess what? It's in the Yamanashi Prefecture, which some of you may remember is where the Japanese wine industry originated in the late 19th century. And we've talked about that on the show before. Mm-hmm. So this, in the spirit of Zen, is where we should probably get into a mind-clearing place as we kick off this new year of podcasting. And we say that because this is our first episode together in 2018.
Yeah, that's right. So, cheers.
Yeah, cheers. And you were just in New Zealand, so we'll hear about that later in the show, too. So, yeah, let's get on with it.
Yeah, so here we go. We're going to start looking back at these great episodes. And, the episodes in this top 10 list are based on what's downloaded the most. So you guys are telling us what you like the best.
And that is so much fun. So we're going to start counting backwards. And then we'll announce the most downloaded Wine to 5 podcast going into your ear holes of all time. What's number 10, Steph?
Okay, number 10 is episode 121, Being Wineful and Canadian wine with Jordan Cowie, CWE.
That was a fun one. Yeah, that's a fun one. Number 9, episode 107. That was The Thirsty Nest and a Glacially Cool Factoid. And that was with Jackie Strum. She is the director of new business development for wine enthusiasts. She was a lot of fun. I thought about her the whole time I was roaming around New York City, thinking about how people live in those small apartments. And and we talked about glacier wine in that episode too. So that was a lot of fun, talking about gift registry for the modern couple. And wedding season's coming. So check out episode 107 again.
Yep. And number 8 downloaded episode of all time is episode 1, our very first episode. Does wine taste better on vacation?
How?
I love that it's episode 1. That's so special. I mean, way back in 2015.
Yeah, we sat here, right here where I'm sitting now at my desk. We had just had dinner and we recorded actually episodes 1 and 2 together. And I have to admit, some of these episodes, I had to wonder what they were about because I have not listened to them since. And I thought, oh, this is going to be like, you know how you like hate watch TV shows? You know, I'm talking about like you want to watch people buy small homes,
really,
but you hate them and you hate the way they go, oh, I want room for entertainment. And I'm like, you're buying a shed. You know, that kind of thing.
I thought that's when you hate yourself for watching it.
And that too. But because I do the editing, as you know, I don't want to sit here and listen to my voice all over again. So I'm kind of like, no, I've heard it enough. I don't want to listen to it again. So I'm glad people are going back to episode 1. I think that's really exciting and probably doing a little binging. But number 7 most downloaded of all time is episode 105. And that was just recorded last year. And that is Thomas Jefferson's Wine. And that was our second podcast anniversary. And where you created the official Wine 25 cocktail.
Yeah, that was fun. We came up with a lot of things for that podcast anniversary.
We sure did.
And the number 6 episode of all time is episode 93, Grandmaster Wine Geek, yo. And for anybody who's like, what is that? Well, we were kind of like, what is that? Too?
I forgot what that was even about. I had to listen to it like this morning and go, oh, there's rapping.
Isn't that funny? I know. Well, that's funny. And for all of you who are wondering, we basically had a whole episode on when not to be a wine snob. Like when you should check your wine snobbery, you know, and maybe put it aside. So that was, and we did drop a factoid about mead.
Yeah.
So, and styles of mead.
And we slurped wine on that show. That was so funny. I think that's the only time we've ever slurped, except I just did it a minute ago while you were talking. Rude of me, I know. Number 5, episode 131, Fall Fever and Celebrating the Season. That was just this past year too. Cocktail recipes, food porn, crock pot, and we talked about what a field blend was.
I was surprised how popular that one was. So that's good. Good on you, everybody, for wanting to check out those recipes and stuff.
Yeah.
Number 4 of all time is episode 95. A little wine label bottle babble with side hustle wino. So yeah, that goes back to almost a year ago.
Yeah.
So we talked wine labels, wine art, and marketing of wine to consumers with Kathy as our guest.
And then number 3, excitement is building.
I know.
Episode 111, episode 111, the Millennial Wine Mind and Wine Market. And that was with one of our patron supporters, Andrew. He's our token millennial, and when we can get him off a shift at the Hotel Californian there in Santa Barbara, we'd love to have him back and tell us more about how millennials are influencing the wine world. And we also talked about May wine, and then he sent us a couple bottles after that episode. So that was a lot of fun having the male influence and the millennial influence on the show for a little bit.
Totally. And it was cool because Andrew really developed a lot of the content for the show. And so we had so much fun. Remember, you were taking pictures.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think even the blog post is really fun to look at on episode 111.
Oh, yeah. We made him do the work, listeners. That's what we did. We said, here, you write the show, dude. And he did. And he just did a great job. It was so much fun. And he's super savvy.
Did a great job.
And we enjoyed having him here. So number 2.
Number 2 of all time. Are you ready? This is no surprise at all to me. Episode 113, Under the Influence of Joe Fattorini from Wine Show TV.
I gotta tell you, that was one of my favorites. And it was a year ago tomorrow that I met Joe in London at the WSET graduation, which is going on. They're actually live tweeting it right now.
Dude.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So we were both skulking around the graduation, and we made a point to meet up and have a glass of sherry and talk about doing this interview. And I got to tell you, I was sending some of the bonus content from that episode to one of our patrons who did like a lump sum support, so they can't access the Patreon site. So I started back channeling some feeds to them, and I'm like, oh, they never got this. And I listened to that piece before I linked it up in our Libsyn account and sent it to her, and I was laughing my butt off.
Yeah.
That dude, I'm not okay.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not okay.
He's such a good storyteller, and he stole the show. It was just so fun to be listening to him, and he's got so much energy. It comes through the headsets.
And then number 1.
What is it, Val?
I can't even stand it. Number 1, the episode that you guys listen to the most. It's not even it's episode 110, Passion and Pinot Vertical Book Review, recorded in May of last year.
I know, isn't that? And it's number 1 by far, by a landslide.
Like twice the downloads of anything else that we've recorded, ever. And we're entering our 4th year of doing this come April. I'll give some credit to Lee, who sent us the books, because she does a great job of promoting the book and promoting the episode. And she's kept in great contact with us, and she's helped us a lot. She's really become a friend of the show as well. So I give her a little credit too, but you guys must really like your books. So that is, those are our 10 most downloaded episodes of all time.
Yeah, and something for you to check out if you haven't listened to those 10. But Val, do you have a top 3 or anything that's like a favorite episode?
It's hard to pick a favorite because it depends. It's like when somebody asks you your favorite color. It's easy for me to say, well, I like pink, but not if I'm decorating my living room. So I think it would depend on a mood. I do love the Joe Fattorini episode. I mean, that was real. It was funny. Had us, our face hurting. Jane Nichols, come on.
I know. Still, that's one of my top 3. Totally. Jane Nichols.
Bubbly professor. I just love Jane. I love any interaction I can have with Jane, and I take it any way I can get it. So I love that one.
And that was episode 32 for anybody who wants to know.
Yeah. Massimo Copetti, my teacher.
Yes.
Yeah. And, James Kluwer, I could just listen to that episode. I could just listen to him talk about world domination and wine education all day long.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard. It's hard because sometimes, and then I listen to something that I forgot about. I'm like, oh yeah, I enjoyed doing that. And I think about my perspective is what you and I were doing together while we were recording also.
Right.
So it's hard, Steph. What about you?
Well, I don't really have favorites either because it feels like the favorite wine question. And so sometimes it's, currently the one we're recording is my favorite one, or, when you're anticipating an interview with somebody and it goes so well, it feels that at that moment that one's your favorite one,
Yeah.
But one of the ones that I really loved was episode 97 with Kathy Hoyha. There was something that was really touching about the way that she connected with us kind of in a holistic level that I really remember as being important to me in our podcasting timeline. But, enough about me, because some of our listeners have contributed some of their favorites on our Wine25 community Facebook page, and a lot of them line up with some of these top 10 and some of the ones that we're talking about. So Let's give some credit to some of these listeners that have been leaving comments.
And hitting subscribe.
Hit subscribe, share, tell your friends.
Yeah.
So Sebastian and Kathy both really liked the episode with Lisa Airy, which was 136.
Okay. No, and that's where you got the green tea. And Kathy's so cute, the one with me as a guest.
I know, right? And now that she's listening, Kathy, you made it in the top 10.
Yeah, I bet she was surprised. We didn't tell anybody.
Yeah, we haven't told anybody. So if you're listening, oh wait, I have a confession to make. I did tell Andrew he was in the top 3 because he was the third. I texted him like over Christmas time, and he was like so excited.
Oh my gosh! And then Sebastian liked the one on wine certifications. And again, we've done so many of these, I don't even remember what the hell we said.
That's the one with Lisa Airy.
I thought we did a different one on the, okay, never mind.
No, so
Scratch that.
I did too. And when I asked, I said on Facebook, I said, what's the wine with wine certifications? Maybe I'm still down under in a time warp in New Zealand. I can't think of which one you're talking about. And he said the one with Lisa Airy.
And see, now you have me wondering, we didn't ever do one that distinguishes. This is Court of Masters.
Right.
This is WSET. This is Society Wine Educators. This is all these others, the Wine Scholar Guild, the American Sommelier, this and that, and wine and this. And I don't think we've ever done an episode like that. And then you had me wondering, thinking we did.
Yeah. See, I thought I was going crazy and I forgot doing an episode about that. But I think because we haven't done one, what Lisa talked about was more information than we've ever put on the show.
Yes. Because each one has its niche. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, of course, Mary Lou. She liked Sebastian's episode, 125, Sassy Italy Tours, and the one with James Kluwer. And I like how she said, all are fantastic, though. Keep going. Thank you, Mary Lou. That means a lot.
And I really like, too, how Laura, she's a new listener, and she absolutely loved the cheese episode with Janet Fletcher. That was episode 127.
I quote her every time I cut off a hunk of cheese and John reaches for the crackers. And I think of Janet Fletcher and that conversation we had where I said cracker or no cracker. She goes, no cracker. I'm like, I'm with her. I just put the soft cheese on the hard cheese. I'm not going to needing the crackers. And I thought about it last night. Even with a big hunk of triple cream brie, I just sliced it off, put it right in my mouth, washed it back with some champagne. It was fabulous.
Oh, that's nice.
No cracker needed. NCN. And then there's Ash.
And for everybody who doesn't know this, Val is Ash's spirit animal.
I love her so
like snorting
much.
Over here. It's so cute.
I love her so much because first of all, we asked and she just listed 10? I don't even know. I can't even count here. And some of the ones that she pulled up were way out of the annals of Grandmaster Flash Rap. I think that was the other one we were talking about. And when you say, oh, which I don't think you do a lot, but I think there was in the bloopers. She remembers Italian Kleenex, naked men drinking wine off a wooden leg. That was Joe Fattorini. The Ice Cube rant. And I kind of went a little dark there. And so I'm glad
but I'm glad. Yeah, some people appreciate that.
Yeah. And, it's better I go dark here than on the poor server coming at me with that tinkling pitcher of ice cubes in a restaurant before I'm like, ice makes me angry. Don't you come near my glass with that thing. And I don't do that, but, I'll just do it here. Oh, and the ones with We Like Drinking Guys. Oh, yeah. Those.
Everybody likes those, I think.
Jeff Solomon with the Merlot, and then Jeff Eccles with the Prohibition. No free wine with lunch, I think was what that one was called. Those were good. Those guys are always fun.
Yeah, they are fun. They add a whole nother element, which is great. And, Ash and also Kathy Schaefer, they both really like the Bad Labels Good Wine, episode 118. And I guess for Ash, that was the episode that really drew her in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That is awesome. Oh, yeah, that's the one that got me sucked in. That is great. So these comments, I can't say enough how much I appreciate all you guys commenting on your favorites, letting us know what it is you like, what it is you want to hear more of, and that you're, involved, engaged, and that you press subscribe.
If you haven't subscribed by now, please subscribe.
Yes. So, should we move on to the factoid?
I think we should move on, yes.
Yes.
And this factoid is about spanking. Yes, that's what I said, spanking. So you should spank your herbs when mixing cocktails. And the reason why we're telling you this is because Val and I mix quite a few cocktails on the show. And if you haven't noticed, it's not just about wine. I'm drinking tea, and Val has her Japanese whiskey over there. But sometimes some of these cocktails have, mint or rosemary or other kind of aromatics. Have you seen when bartenders do this? They get spanky with it. And the reason why they do this is because it activates the essential oils, and you avoid crushing or bruising the herb. And you want to avoid it because it can cause this bitter tasting, yucky. You don't want that bitter tasting chlorophyll to release. So what you do is you place the sprig or the leaf in between your hands and then give it a firm slap.
Naughty herbs.
And so really give this a try. And even if you're just going to make a gin and tonic or something, you could spruce it up with a little mint. Give it a little spank. And then even if you're going for today I'm having my non-alcoholic drink, but you can do this for mocktails too.
Oh yeah. I've seen them do it at, Bonefish Grill with basil.
Totally.
Behind the bar, spanking some basil for a cocktail. That sounds like a song. Spanking some basil for a cocktail. All right.
Maybe that'll be another rap or a haiku at some point.
Yes. That on haiku day we'll have to see. So What about Wino Radar? What are we talking about this week?
Okay, this is more of a podcast radar instead of Wino Radar. But this is good because, we're giving people listening recommendations today. And something that came across my radar was the documentary called Earbuds, the podcasting documentary. And I saw it on iTunes. You can rent it or buy it. And I watched it. And it got me a little giddy. I love any kind of podcasting documentary. And this particular one, it was created by Graham Elwood and Chris Mancini of the Comedy Film Nerds podcast. So it's funny, which is good. But what makes it different is that it captures the personal connection podcasters have with their listeners, which is really what this is all about. And so that's why we thought you guys might like it. Great, entertaining documentary. And then also, just as a reminder, if you haven't seen the Messengers podcast documentary, it is now available on Amazon Prime for renting and watching, which is cool because Val and I, we were one of their early supporters for their crowdfunding campaign. And Podfest will be going on here next month, or very shortly, actually. So just having them in our mind, and wanted to make sure it was all on your radars.
And what's really significant about this, it's if you've seen the movie Saw, which I'm suspecting many listeners have, I always say that The Messengers is like Psalm, but with microphones instead of wine glasses and less crying.
Totally.
Isn't that awful?
Totally. Totally. You haven't quite, what that does to your spouses can also be somewhat similar, but I think, for us that are podcasters, our spouses don't hate us as much as the Psalms in training spouses, but
and I would say, even as far as my wine studies goes, as supportive as John is, because he gets to taste amazing things and, help me out. And he's a wine lover. I mean, that's how we met, over a glass of wine. He's been an absolute cheerleader for this podcast.
Yeah.
I call him the enabler. So
he is the enabler.
Yeah.
And Justin is a cheerleader too.
Yeah. So we're lucky to have that in our lives. But yeah, it definitely is different with wine and with podcasting. So yeah.
Yes. Well, I have a few shout outs before we go on to our drawing and all of our love for our listeners. I just came back from Queenstown, New Zealand, some of you might know, and I can't resist mentioning just a few shout outs. Michelle Wilkinson and her husband, Andy. Michelle, her nickname is Misha, and we had a wonderful visit at Misha's Vineyard. Thank you, Michelle and Andy. Debbie Adams, who oversees the business development on the South Island for Prophets Rock Wines. Amazing time there. Thank you so much, Debbie. And then Robin Bush and the hospitality team at Matakari Lodge. You guys rocked. So thank you so much. And not to leave this out, I am posting a bunch of New Zealand photos and info on our Wine25 community page. So if I've piqued your interest, go and check it out.
And to all of our listeners using our hashtags, hashtag W25 Challenge, it's not 5 o'clock, we don't care. Hashtag Val and Steph, hashtag Wine25 spelled out, hashtag W25 podcast, pick one. We will see you on Twitter, Instagram, and the Book of Face and Facebook. Thank you for connecting with us and showing your enthusiasm for our show and our community, and we look forward to connecting with you more in 2018. We also want to send out a whole bunch of love to our patrons who connect with us on the Patreon crowdfunding platform. And those are our tenacious tasters, Jeff E. from We Like Drinking, and they've been hilarious lately, by the way. And Lynn from Savor the Harvest blog. And for those of you that don't know, she is a finalist for the Millesima Blog Awards for 2018 in the categories of food and wine pairing and wine travel. And I believe as a finalist, she gets a magnum of 2010 Chateau Clerc Milan.
Cool.
I know. You've got till January 29th to do your voting, so go out to Savor the Harvest blog, and she'll send you links, or check out the links on the Facebook. It's real easy on the Facebook. I sound like I'm totally not with it here, but it's real easy to vote, so you guys can vote for her there. And then there's Sebastian, a tenacious taster of Sassy Italy Tours. Thank you so much for all your interaction with us and for getting your wine education on. We're glad you're inspired to do that. He mentioned that. Jen in Maryland and the world, according to her Instagram feed. Dave and Lisa in Illinois. Anne Marie in Virginia. And she is our newest tenacious taster. We did have her picture in the blog last week, but we haven't had a chance to give her a shout out over there because, again, this is our first episode of 2018. And she's actually a policy consultant and part-time personal training and fitness instructor who makes time to enjoy a good bottle of wine a few times a week. She says Val and Steph guide the way with fun and spirit. So glad to help them lead our exploration of wine. Welcome, Anne-Marie. It's so awesome. Of course, I actually started my wine journey with Anne-Marie back in California, back in 99, 2000.
Oh, I love that. What a fun memory.
Yeah, it's a very fun memory. So she was part of my original wine journey as well. And of course, hey, it not 5 o'clock. Of course, our It's Not 5 o'clock and we don't care listeners. Meg in South Dakota, Clay in Arizona, in California, John, Andrew, Azwani, Chantal in Ontario, Canada, Mary Lou in Pennsylvania, Kathy in Georgia, in Colorado, we have Chris and Janet, and Diane in Illinois is Steve and Renee. Kathy is in Tennessee, Ashley's in North Carolina, Sean is in Ohio, and our Tastemaker listeners are in Scotland, that's David, in Kentucky, that's Carol, and in California, that's Karen. And speaking of the love, it's time for our monthly drawing, and this is where we draw the name of one of our patrons for a surprise gift. What are they getting this month, Steph, while I get the bag?
This month, the winner gets to choose between our pieces of swag, so either a Go Vino glass or a t-shirt. And we do have a limit on the sizes that we have left for t-shirts, but so they get to choose. This is just getting better for patrons, month by month.
Yes, and at this rate, we're going to have to place another t-shirt order as well, so that's pretty cool. So
yeah,
the winner is Karen D.
Sweet.
Karen, California.
Karen will be reaching out to you, and you get to pick what kind of swag you would like.
Yep. You got, what you said, a Go Vino glass or a t-shirt. That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. So if you are wondering how do you get to be entered into the drawing, you can go to patreon.com/wine25podcast. And our patrons also get exclusive content, and we do give you perks. So please check out all the details online. And also, in between these episodes, you can find us on the social spaces at Wine25. So please engage with us there, and also join our private Facebook group called Wine25 Community. You can connect with Miss Val on Twitter at WineGalUnboxed and as Vino with Val on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. And I am online as the Wine Heroine. So we will see you guys next week.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening to the Wine25 podcast. Be sure to check us out at Facebook/WineTWO5 and tune in next week for more fun and useful sip tips.